England rugby players. James Haskell joins us right now to talk about, well, grassroots rugby. Good morning to you, James.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well indeed. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much. I do want to ask you about Kate Middleton in just a few moments, but first up, can I talk to you about what you're calling for today? And this is really about a little bit of community spirit and people supporting their local grassroots teams, which have gone through a terrible time in the last couple of years.
Yes, they have. Greene King IPA have put up a campaign called Proud to Pitch In, where basically they've pledged £100,000, or they've allocated that already, but they're offering an opportunity for any grassroots clubs playing any sport to apply to get a grant of up to £3,000. And the money's raised every time someone purchases a pint of Greene King IPA. 10p goes towards this fund that will be allocated towards these grassroots clubs to help them kind of survive and remain sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the key thing, isn't it? You know, if you haven't got the grassroots clubs where youngsters can come through, you're not going to have the great players that we want to watch in Six Nations and in World Cups. We're just simply not going to see that. And we know that the grassroots teams are the ones that took the real hit. You know, people were legally banned from playing with each other for months and months on end during various lockdowns.
Yeah, look, I think grassroots for me is so important purely because it gets us out exercising, whatever your sport, whatever your interest, whatever your passion. We've got a sort of an obesity epidemic in this country. We've got a lot of children glued to phones. They don't play sport at school. Grassroots clubs are an escape for children, for adults to play and do anything they want to do. And I think so many of the clubs rely on donations, volunteers, and always operate on shoestring budgets because they don't make any money. Yeah. And so obviously when Greene can come along and offer this opportunity and to these clubs, lots of people will be applying, and I think there's going to be some real benefit had because most sports people or most people will have had some sort of journey or relationship with the grassroots club.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm somebody who's never played a team sport. The hand-eye coordination thing never really worked for me, but it was really important to me that my daughter was sporty and that's because I can see the benefit of it. My husband, did a few five-a-side teams and things like that. And the camaraderie, the team spirit, the focus, local community, the fundraising, it all ties in. And this is the stuff. It doesn't just make people fitter and healthier physically. It's the mental health. It's when you're playing sport, you're not doing other things. You're not eating. You're not, say, sitting on a screen, slumped in front of the telly. You're with other people. There are so many different aspects to why sport is such an important part of life, and we need to make sure that it's not seen as an optional extra.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. So much about team sport or any sport teaches you discipline. In team sport, it teaches you acceptance. It teaches you, working for something bigger than yourself. And I think a lot of people, in corporate worlds and in businesses, they talk about teams, but until you've actually been with a team, you've gone out, you've gone through the mud, the rain, a bit of hardship, a bit of turmoil, you don't really know what that kind of spirit is about. And I think it's great for kids and for adults, whoever, to learn those kind of lessons and also use this wonderful body that we were given when we were born, because so many people neglect it. And, as the famous Baz Luhrmann song goes, when your knees go, you'll miss them. And I think it's important to try to enjoy and make the most of what we're given.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's no doubt at all in terms of a lot of the things we talked about long before COVID, dementia, but even with COVID, we know that, being obese has a massive, big impact on whether or not you're going to be at higher risk. So, on every single front, getting physically active is good for us. Let's talk about someone who's definitely very physically active, Kate Middleton, clearly very, very, very sporty all her life. She is now the patron of the English Rugby Football Union and she Football Union and Football League. She's got some wonderful pictures of her playing with some of the women's players, all looking very, very, very alarmingly fit and healthy to me. I've still got the New Year fitness fit to try and get started on. To be honest with you, I'm wondering how you feel about Kate Middleton taking that over, given that you were in the 2015 World Cup squad for England. Kate Middleton at that time supported Wales. Do you forgive her? That's what I want to know.
Of course I do. I think, for fans and the media, that kind of thing is so important. When we played, in a Six Nations, which is coming up now, people go, you must really hate the Welsh or the Scot, whatever it was. And we never did, because we were professional sports people. We just wanted to be the very best versions of ourselves and have the most fun. And, you know, it doesn't matter who Kate started supporting. Now she's representing the RFU. I thought watching the footage and seeing the how good she was, what she was doing was incredible. I always slightly panic when, you know, sort of when you do these media junkets, or you know, we're very famously Boris Johnson, you know, when he got caught in that abseiling thing, his trousers ripped off, and also the Virgin owner as well, the same thing. You kind of get them doing stuff they don't normally do, and the wheels can come off. But she was utterly brilliant in everything she did, was fantastic, and seemed to be having a joke and a laugh. And I think she'll be a great ambassador for a wonderful sport.
Well, let's also talk about Six Nations. First match this Saturday, Scotland versus England, kick-off at 4:45. How do you rate England's chances? Good.
I think, you know, I was in a similar situation to this team in 2015. We'd lost that we got knocked out of the World Cup. We went to Scotland in our first game, new young team, and you know, Eddie Jones is doing the same thing this time. Scotland are chock full of real talent. So I think it'll be a very good indicator of where we are. Very difficult place to go and play, but I'm going to back England. But I would say that Scotland are looking pretty lethal.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, James Haskell, former England rugby player. Of course, thank you so much for joining us. 9:42 is the time.